You know Berry Gordy is very manipulative. You know that motherfucker would be like, how are we going to get these girls to drop out of school? Let's come up with a plan. So what we're going to do is... The Marvelettes could only guess that a song that spent a week at the number one spot on the pop charts and 7 weeks atop the R&B charts was indeed a million seller. Berry Gordy did not allow access to Motown's books to the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA, which officially certifies million sellers. With Motown still being an up-and-coming company, he did not want to pay the escalating fees the RIAA demanded, a fee that was based on the number of records sold. He also did not want the RIAA or anyone else to know how many records he sold. Motown would become notorious for publicly inflating record sales in order to boost the company's image and also the artist's morale. In each case, it worked. Didn't the other Sagittarius, Jay-Z, do that with Tidal? That's why Rihanna and Kanye West was mad at his ass. You lying. And they busted his ass and then it went away. My feelings about the whole thing is that to a point the Miracles were there first, and they should be the ones to receive the first gold record, not 5 girls from Inkster. Bullshit to Baker. Remember when we read Taco Meat Marvin? And Taco Meat Marvin got his gold records posted on the wall and shit. Come to find out that them gold records was just his records, spray painted gold. You know we know a lot about Motown over here. My feelings about the whole thing is that to a point the Miracles were there first, and they should be the ones to receive the first gold record, not 5 girls from Inkster. But isn't it strange that we don't have a gold record? I don't know why. Why you just ain't call him up and tell him to paint you a record like how he painted everybody else a gold record? But isn't it strange that we don't have a gold record? At the time, Motown wasn't registered with the RIAA. And we can understand that because you are a new and upcoming company, and to be a participant in those things costs money. It don't matter, girl. It don't matter. He was giving y'all his own gold records. Painted up. But then, when you did become a member, why don't you reach back and get our gold record? Now, this is how I know that Berry Gordy being a motherfucker. Why you didn't paint them girls a record, Berry the Gordy? You knew them girls worked hard. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. You told them to go home, get a song. They got to the song. They brought it in. And the Mother Hoochie hit number 1 pop. You know how hard that is for a black record company to hit number 1 pop? Oh, he a nigga. Hey, all he had to do was just go into the back room, grab a copy of the record, and paint them. You know, he's very manipulative. Okay? And if he would have gave them girls that gold record too soon, it would have maybe been a detriment to him and his power over them. Regardless of the fact of how the Miracles got their gold record for Shop Around and anybody else that came around during that time, they still got gold records. Why didn't you reach back and give us ours? We have never received a gold record for any of our records that may have been gold, and they have been out long enough and have been re-released enough that they are well over 1 million in sales. But then we never did receive it, and we never have been acknowledged for our contributions to Motown, and I don't think that's an oversight. Berry Gordy is a nigga. Despite lack of proper recognition from Motown, having a smash hit record quickly made the Marvelettes the toast of Inkster, Michigan. Being in show business allows you to meet people from all across the country. Therefore, you moved differently and indirectly and not necessarily purposefully. You begin to start moving in a different circle. You begin to start moving with people that are in the business because they understand it and they understand what's going on with you. The success of Mr. Postman brought on the inevitable demand for live performances, an often complicated situation because, with the exception of Wanda, all of the Marvelettes were still in school. There were occasions where Motown would have to give written excuses to get the girls out of class, such as their appearance on American Bandstand. In addition, Gladys was an orphan and thus a ward of the court. As a result, Motown had to appoint a legal guardian for her. Esther Gordy Edwards' husband, George, was a Michigan state legislator. Through his contacts, Edwards was able to convince a probate court judge to let Gladys go out on the road under assurances that she would be a chaperone and would make the girls study. That's true. Because I remember in other books we read, Esther Gordy was chaperones for some of the girls. I think she was chaperones for the Supreme. Catherine points out Mrs. Edwards is a businesswoman. And being a businesswoman, she had that knack for being able to talk to people almost like direct. There wasn't a very big staff at Motown when we came out. With her being at the company and us needing to come out on the road, she was more or less the chosen person to go out there with us, even though she was married and had a child. She's a hell of a businesswoman. The Marvelettes were quickly added to a Motown package tour that was making stops in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and New York. Catherine remembers Motown had set up a tour or a Motown review kind of thing, and it started in Washington, D.C. We were not part of the particular package at the start of it. The Miracles, Marv Johnson, Eddie Holland, and Mary Wells were on that show. Our record was so strong with the people in D.C. that when the other artists performed, the audience chanted so loudly, according to what we were told, for the Marvelettes, that Barry had to call back to Detroit and say, "Get the Marvelettes here." Motown needed to milk Please Mr. Postman as much as it could in order to generate some much needed cash for the company. As a result, there was considerable pressure on the Marvelettes to juggle schoolwork along with live performances and other responsibilities that came with being full-time entertainers with a recent #1 record. However, as the professional demands on their time increased, they were pressured by Motown to drop out of high school. Can you believe these niggas? Gladys points out Berry Gordy wanted the Marvelettes to quit school because we had a hot record out. People wanted to see us, and at that time, Motown was able to sell more records when people could see us. For Gladys, the idea of leaving high school early amounted to little more than something that came with the territory of having a hit record out. She further states the people of Inkster treated us really nice after Please Mr. Postman. But later it got to where people expected you to wear diamonds and furs every day. It was as if some of the people in Inkster were not ready for us to be ourselves after we had a hit record. People always assume that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you got a number one record. Why you ain't wearing this and drive that and live here and live there? It was as if some of the people in Inkster were not ready for us to be ourselves after we had a hit record. They didn't realize that just because we had the number one song in the country, we could come to school in blue jeans and raggedy shoes. People felt that if you had a number one record out, you were supposed to be dressed up all the time, and we weren't. It sounds like they dropped you off in front of the projects with a new Jerry curl kit. It became a problem 2, 3, 4 months after the song was out, and students were talking about the clothes we were wearing. It really made school impossible. It was better to be at Motown, recording and watching someone record. Wow. I feel bad for the girls. For Catherine, Georgiana, and Wyanetta, making a decision to drop out of school was a bit more painstaking because they were beginning their senior year during the run of Please Mr. Postman, even going so far as to take graduation pictures. Unfortunately, that was the choice we had, states Catherine. Let me tell you something. My mother with the shits. There ain't no way in the world homegirl would have let me drop out of high school. If she drop out of high school, how's she going to go to college? Ma'am, but she's getting ready to be a big star. Okay, but they don't have big stars in college? You don't do that? I told you my mother did not play about that education, girl. And I could see if I was the smartest light bulb in the pack. No, okay? I was just old average student in high school. Didn't fucking matter. My mother would not let me drop out. I'm like, Ma, school is not for me. I don't like it. It is not my friend. I don't know how these parents would take that. My mama wouldn't give a F about no Motown or no Barry Gordy. She wouldn't give a F about them ninjas. All she know is my daughter's going to graduate high school. Because how is she going to go to college if she don't graduate? She can get her GED. My daughter's not going to get a GED. She's going to graduate high school. She's going to graduate Roosevelt High School like I did, like her cousin did, like her auntie did. She's going to graduate. Our choice was to tour, stay in school, go ahead and get our education. Wyanetta, Georgiana, and myself would have been able to graduate with our class. However, after the Washington, D.C. people there and fans chanting for us the way they chanted for us, which to my understanding was deafening, then we had a choice of staying in school or going out there and doing our record. Pause. This is what they heard. You know Barry Gordy is very manipulative. You know that motherfucker would be like, how are we going to get these girls to drop out of school? Let's come up with a plan. So what we're going to do is, look, y'all, Marv Johnson, Mary Wells, all that other shiz, you know, you're talking about, all you people. Go with it. We're going to tell these girls that they were chanting for the Marvelettes at your show, okay? And they went with it. So they weren't even there to hear it. Somebody told them. That shit might not even have been true. It might have just been a tool of manipulation to get the girls on board with the bullshit. Now you see why we call his ass Barry Bad Bug Bites? He's treacherous. He sucks your blood. That's what he does. That is a treacherous nigga. However, after the Washington, D.C. people there and fans chanting for us the way they chanted for us, which to my understanding was deafening, then we had a choice of staying in school or going out there and doing our record. I could not see, and I don't think any of the other girls could see us doing a record and Motown sending out a different set of girls than those that actually did it. Remember, the contract said at any time, if he wants to replace you bitches, if he wants to menudo you, he will. So he kind of, he lied. That's a lie, y'all. I'm sorry. He lied to them girls. That's a lie. He manipulated the fuck out of them girls. God gonna get you, Berry Gordy. We were the ones that actually recorded it. So why, if you were so family oriented, would you think in terms of sending 5 other girls out there because the public doesn't know what they look like anyway? We had the choice of going out there or staying in school. And all of us ended up making the choice that we made the record. We made it popular, and we were going out there and representing ourselves. What Motown said about school, we want our people to graduate this, that, and the other. That's crap. They didn't really give a damn if you graduated or not. Know this. Remember, Aretha Franklin was very insecure when it came to her sisters because Riri was in the business, she had to drop out. It's funny how with the Supremes, they had to graduate and then come back. Oh, you can hang around, but you got to graduate. Okay, he's funny. If we had come out with another record before Mr. Postman, then it would have allowed us the time in order to finish school, but we didn't. Unlike the Supremes, as soon as we came out of the box, we had a 1 million selling record. Therefore, they didn't give a damn if we finished school or not. God gonna get you, Berry Gordy.